This is Hoop City with Paul Sir on Sports 1440.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! We did it!
Here's your host, Paul Sir.
You have these most wonderful days of the year, Josh. Fenwick here on Hoop City with Paul Sir. This definitely qualifies as one of them because we have the magical words of Game 7 tonight when we see the Oklahoma City Thunder at home trying to get back to the NBA Finals for the second consecutive year as they face off against the San Antonio Spurs, who came out with a spirited Game 6 sound defeat of the Thunder. And we're going to talk about that, of course, a lot. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a great show today. We're doing something a little bit different for our Community Champion segment. We're actually going to run it into two segments because we have so much that we want to talk about with the Dunkley family. People who know the basketball community in Edmonton certainly know of Ryan Dunkley, a superb player for both the Grant McEwen Griffins and for the University of Alberta Golden Bears in his day. But he has three children, his son Kai, who's at the University of Alberta, and his daughters, Hope and Nev, who they're going to be able to join us today. Kai is practicing with the Singers and won't be able to be with us, but I'm real excited to have Ryan, Hope, and Nev in the studio today talking about a lot of different things as it relates to basketball in our great community of Edmonton. And then our deep dive today, I also am really pleased to have Sirat Sohi, who is an Edmontonian. Obviously, her father is of great notoriety. Her father, Amarjeet Sohi, was the mayor of Edmonton, longtime city councilor, has been in the federal government as well. Sirat has gone her own way and done extremely well. She runs a podcast, or hosts a podcast, rather, for focusing on the WNBA for The Ringer. And for those of you who are not familiar with The Ringer, that's big time. The Ringer is like the, I think, pinnacle of sports podcasts, particularly basketball podcasts. And then they have their little side shows too. I think it's called the Rewatchables. I think that's what it's called.
The Rewatchable? Love the Rewatchables.
Yeah, fantastic. That's through The Ringer. Sarah writes for them, also broadcasts for them, like I said, on her podcast. She joins us for the deep dive. We had a great conversation yesterday. Excuse me, I have a cold. I'm going to have to take a drink. Sorry about that.
Hey.
But so we have a great show. So let's dive right into our Josh's 3 questions on our 3+1.
Yeah. All right. So, number 1, Game 7 gets going tonight in the Western Conference Finals. Just a few days ago on the Kevin Carrier show, you predicted a Game 6 win for the Oklahoma City Thunder to punch their ticket back to the finals. You were wrong.
100%.
Pretty simple. What is your prediction for tonight's game?
The way that the teams have both responded to each other when the interesting thing about this series is Game 1 was a double overtime classic. Of course, we all will remember Wemby's 41-23 that night. But besides that, that's really the only real close game that we've had. The other games have been sizable margins for the victor. And so that certainly carried forward into Game 6, and surprisingly so, I thought. But I think what we're seeing with the San Antonio Spurs is that there's a spirit of competitiveness where they're not even aware of how young and inexperienced they are. I mean, my God, the other night, the way Dylan Harper came out and was just a force to be reckoned with. Wemby was very good and asserted himself early, which was essential, I think, for the Spurs to establish their confidence in this game. And they really rattled SGA and also did a much better job of closing out on their shooters. So here's the question, and I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day. How do they bottle that up, that type of defense that they play in San Antonio, the kind of aggressive, confident offense that they play in San Antonio, and carry that forward into Oklahoma City? And on the OKC side, can SGA figure this out? Now, he's a two-time MVP, But clearly in this series, Josh, with the exception of one game where he had over 30 points, and in that game he shot 17 free throws, he has had a very difficult time with the normal efficiency that he has. I'm going to go out on a limb and, don't anybody go to Vegas with what Paul predicts, because it'll be just as accurate as it was the other day on Kevin's show. But I'm going with San Antonio. I feel like they have something, and the fact that that OKC is banged up, I think, is really important here. This is where they need the all-NBA Jason Williams at this point, because their role players have been phenomenal. But if San Antonio can close out aggressively and rush the three-point shooters, such as Caruso, such as McCain, I really think the Spurs have a shot at taking Game 7. How about yourself, Josh?
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you on this one. I've been on the San Antonio hype train basically the entirety of the playoffs, and so I, even on the Triple S this morning, said I think it's going to be Spurs. I think my pre-series prediction was Spurs in 7.
Ooh. Could be you at a very young age could be establishing a reputation.
My crystal ball just talks to me at the end of the night every day. Says, "Oh, this is what you need to do."
Well, that's a scary thought.
I am picking San Antonio, but really, we'll know who's winning by the end of the first, I think, because the refs did a good job last game, I thought, of determining what was a dirty play and what was just tough defense or more physical defense. Obviously, the Spurs started policing some things themselves, and I think they had 3 big hits throughout the entirety of Game 6. But if the whistle sort of stays, away, I think this goes San Antonio's way. However, it's the home crowd for OKC. You'll get the tendency of getting more calls thrown in your direction when you're at home.
It's a really good point.
Yeah.
By the way, Josh, and Josh, sorry to interrupt. The Dunkley family's at the door.
All right.
So we'll go to question 2.
We'll go to question.
I'll riff on that a bit, and then if you could let Ryan and the girls in that.
I will go grab them immediately. The NBA passed some new anti-tanking rules for the league. The lottery has expanded from 14 teams to 16 teams, and you cannot pick in the top 5 more than 3 consecutive years. To me, the lottery did not need to be expanded. However, the top 5 rule is absolutely incredible.
Interesting. I have to digest this for a while. I'm not 100% sure, because as I understand it as well, there are concerns, like, for instance, the only team that voted against it was Memphis, because it affected trade draft picks that they have made, that they may not be able to get all of the trade draft picks that they have picked because of the 5-year rule. So, like I said, I'm going to have to digest it for a bit. I'm not a huge fan of the lottery in general, but I think the fact that the NBA has taken some meaningful measures now to address the tanking issue, which is very real. I mean, let's face it, tanking this year was a disgrace to the league, and I think an insult to the paying public. When people are paying hundreds of dollars per ticket to go to an NBA game, and you have teams not putting their best players out there, and you have players not putting their best efforts out there as well, you have to do something. So kudos to the NBA for taking a stand. I think, though, what we've got is a real conundrum in terms of what the actual ramifications of this might be. I'm a bit perplexed on why they went to 16 teams. I don't know, and that is why I have to take a little bit of time to digest this and get a sense for whether it's overall, in its totality, whether this is a good move for the NBA or not. But again, going back to the point, something has to be done about tanking. I was listening to NBA radio on my way in today, and the discussion between Sam Mitchell and his partner, whose name escapes me. One of the questions was, well, in addition to tanking, do you need to do something about intentional fouling? And I don't think you can do anything about that, because really, what really should happen in terms of intentional fouling and putting a bad free throw shooter on the line, you got to become a better free throw shooter. You're in the NBA. Spend the time in the gym during the season and in the off season to get yourself to at least a 60% efficiency as a free throw shooter. You should be able to do that. If you put the time and the work in, you will be able to do that. A couple of examples, and this is more about shooting in general. Kawhi Leonard, when he came to the NBA from San Diego State, Kawhi could not shoot a lick. But then he got with the San Antonio Spurs. They had great shooting coaches, and they worked extremely hard with him. He worked extremely hard, put the time and energy in, and he's become an excellent shooter, as we all know. Dunkley family are in the building. We're really excited to have them all here. That'll be in our next segment. So I just waxed philosophic. I solved all of the world's problems, Josh, about the new lottery rules by the NBA. So let's go to question number 3.
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad you figured it out.
Well, you just got to go to the source.
4 minutes? That is faster than the NBA got it figured out.
Absolutely. Well, they just, they could have simplified things, but they did.
They just got to get your opinion on
Absolutely.
everything. All right. Number 3. The 2 best words in sports are Game 7. I simply want to know what your top 3 NBA Game 7s are ever.
I'm going to start backwards and work forward, and I'm going to go 4. And take liberties, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It's your show.
Josh,
you can do whatever you want
that's
in reality.
Exactly right. 1969, Boston Celtics were 48-34. They finished 4th in the Eastern Conference in what would be Bill Russell's last season. They literally hobbled into the NBA playoffs. Old men across the board against a powerful Los Angeles Lakers team. Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain lined up finally to wrestle an NBA championship away from the Celtics, who had won 10 of 12. Guess what happens? Game 7, 108-106. This is how old I am. I remember watching that game on a black and white TV in my bedroom and watching John Havlicek hit the winning shot, as he often did. So the Celtics take their 11th championship in 13 years, and Bill Russell, the great Bill Russell, goes out as an NBA champion again, thwarting Elgin Baylor's quest for a championship and delaying Jerry West's first NBA championship for another 3 years. And the second one, no surprise here, is the Celtics again, and that was in 1984 in their Game 7 victory over the Los Angeles Lakers. So there's 2 Celtic ones. But then going to 2013, I thought one of the great, more current, modern era games was the Miami Heat over the San Antonio Spurs. That was a phenomenal game. Of course, we remember the famous Ray Allen shot in the corner where literally his heels were over the out-of-bounds line as he hit it. And also, Greg Popovich, the great San Antonio Spurs coach, probably made a terrible coaching decision by taking Tim Duncan, as I recall, out of the lineup for some reason. And the Spurs were not able to get a defensive rebound. The tip out went to Allen. Allen hit the shot, went into overtime, and they beat the Spurs for the championship. And that, of course, is the Heat with LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Ray Allen. And then my last one, Josh, is the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers Game 7 win over the Golden State Warriors. After being down 3-1, Draymond Green being the idiot that he often can be, missing Game 6 because he's suspended because of one of his ill-advised cheap shots during the series itself. Cleveland comes back from a 3-1 deficit, one of the few teams that is able to do that, and they're able to win the game, giving Cleveland, the city of Cleveland, that town on Lake Erie, that city on Lake Erie that's long suffering for a championship, and the hometown or the home state hero, LeBron James, bringing a championship back to Cleveland. So there's my 4, Josh.
Hey, that's pretty good. I mean, with a bullet, Game 7 in 2016 is arguably probably the greatest Game 7 ever played.
Well, if you're under 40 years old, you can say those things.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
that's just your naivete, your lack of experience, all of those things. So
I did also watch Game 7 from the 1969 NBA finals. Not live, obviously, because I'm 22. But it's...
You did watch it? Seriously? You watched it?
You can find it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so that's...
Good for you.
When I was, on my upstart of becoming a sports fan, and everyone talks about the 69 finals like it was Russell's last year, he was player coach, all these things. You're like, okay, well, I have to find this. And so I found Game 7, and I sat down and watched it on my parents' couch when I was 15 years old.
Man, black and white, just like you did. You're impressing me more every time I get a chance to talk to you, Josh.
Yeah, well,
my goodness.
There we are. That I'll leave that. I'm omitting that.
Did people call you a nerd in high school? Is that the sort of thing that came up once in a while?
No, they used meaner words for sure. But I was in musical theater. Like
oh, good for you. I was too, by the way.
Oh, no way. All right. Well, there we go. We learn something new every day. So, number one with a bullet, give me Game 7 of 2016. The block, the shot, the stop. I can wax poetic about that game forever.
It was a great game. No question about it. Arguably, you can make a good argument for what you're saying, Josh.
And then give me Game 7 of the Eastern semifinals in 2019. Kawhi and Serge Ibaka. Heroics. Serge Ibaka being the only other guy aside from Kawhi Leonard that could score for the Raptors in that game. And then obviously you get the first Game 7 buzzer beater in NBA history. And then this is a little bit of an off-the-board pick, and it's the hater in me that's choosing it. Game 7 between the Rockets and the Warriors, and I believe it was 2018, where the Rockets missed 27 consecutive three-point shots because Chris Paul goes down in Game 6 with a hamstring injury. They were going to beat the Warriors, but he goes down. And then in Game 7, James Harden is horrible, and the Rockets miss 27 consecutive three-pointers and gift the win to basically the greatest team ever assembled. And they go on to win the championship over LeBron James that year. But, the D'Antoni Rockets... What a storied history.
Absolutely. Well, good choices, Josh. You're wise beyond your years, obviously. I'm going to talk about this more later, but yesterday there was an announcement that has a very personal attachment to myself and my family, and that was the announcement of Sean Sweeney, the associate head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, was named the head coach of the Orlando Magic yesterday. The reason that is a personal story is he was a teammate of my son Steve's at Cretin-Derham Hall High School in St. Paul 25 years ago this year. And this is what's interesting about Sean. Sean's on a team with Steve, who still holds the Minnesota State High School record for most threes in a year. And get this, Steve made 156 three-pointers that year. The second place player is 112. So 25 years later, he has a 44 three-point lead in the state of Minnesota. Another teammate of Sean and Steve's is Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer was a three sport athlete, and these are his credentials. National Player of the Year in football as a quarterback, had Division I offers from the top 50 schools in the United States. First team All-State in basketball, hadn't touched a basketball from the season before until the season started. First team All-State in basketball. And then National Player of the Year in baseball, goes on to become, as a catcher for the Minnesota Twins, a Hall of Famer. He was the first ballot Hall of Famer this past year. So these are Sean Sweeney's teammates. I watched game after game, and I'll tell you who the guy was who took and made some of the most clutch shots on a very, very good Cretin-Derham Hall Raider team. That was Sean Sweeney because of his incredible confidence in himself and his work ethic. And the fact that Sean has worked as hard as he has over the last 20 years to get to this point is a phenomenal accomplishment. And to have known he and his family, coached his brother. I actually coached Sean quite a bit on shooting. But to have that happen, to see somebody do what is needed to be done to achieve his goals, real inspiration. And I'll talk about that in our last segment. But right now, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to do our Community Champion segment. And we're going to expand it to 2 today because these 3 people that are in the studio we need to hear from them, and we need to have a great conversation with them. You're listening to Hoop City with Paul Sir on your sports leader, Sports 1440. We'll be right back. Glad to be here today with, of course, the great Josh Fenwick. And I have the Dunkley family in here, and I'm going to introduce them in just a second. But this is our Community Champions segment. It's my favorite segment of the week because we talk about the people in our great city who are walking the walk in terms of their commitment to the sport of basketball. And it's not just what they do on the court. It's how they approach the game of basketball and how they really approach the game of life. And our Community Champions segment is sponsored by Innovative Benefits. And if it's time for you to review your company benefits, your personal insurance and plans and investment strategies, talk to Randy Parrish and his great team at Innovative Benefits. They'll give you straightforward and honest advice with access to the best products in the industry. Trust the great folks at Innovative Benefits to do what's best for you, your family, and your business. And to find out more, go to innovativebenefits.ca. That's innovativebenefits.ca. So, I'd like to welcome in today, as I mentioned, the Dunkley family. There's Dad Ryan.
Hello, thank you.
And daughters Hope and Nev. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Now, Missing one. Kai could not be with us because Kai, who plays at the University of Alberta, had a great career at Ross Shep High School, also works with the Edmonton Stingers, and he was not able to get out of practice this morning. Had to get over to Harry Ainley High School where the Stingers practice as they get ready for their matchup tomorrow against the Calgary Surge in Red Deer, which is a cool thing.
That is cool.
That they're going down to Red Deer to play. That's great. And Kai is an important part of the support team that helps the Stingers get ready for such games. But reason I wanted to have Ryan and his daughters and family on today is because Ryan, I didn't know Ryan well when he played at Grant MacEwan for Kenny Larson, and then at the University of Alberta for Don Horwood. But I remember watching Ryan play, and I remember, coming up from the States, I had been here a few years, but I just loved Ryan's toughness. He had a toughness that I equated more with what I would see in the States than I necessarily saw at times in Canadian basketball. And the physical play, and Ryan, your running mate was Humphreys, right?
And then when we finished out, I finished out my career losing in the national championship in overtime, which is one of those losses that stings. But it was McGlisco and I that patrolled the paint that year. We were and Pat Crevelin off the bench. That was our kind of our three posts that year.
Golden Bears, golden era. There was nothing like we moved here in 1987. But from 88 on, and then in the 90s, what you guys did over there was incredible. I love going to the games. I think everybody loved going to the old gym. It was such a phenomenal atmosphere, and you guys had great teams.
Well, that energy was amazing back then. I mean, it was a different era. I mean, basketball wasn't as popular, but the gyms were packed because if you wanted to watch basketball, what were your options? There wasn't NBA on TV. There wasn't NCAA on TV. Your options were to go to the Bears game and read the scores about the NBA in the paper the next day. So
100%.
And that was a crazy era of success, but also fan support and attention on that program. So
it's interesting you bring that up because as we talk to Hope and to Nev as well, we're going to talk about the differences that the world that they play in today versus the world you played in, and certainly the world I played in. That was a whole different thing. But you played for Kenny at Grant MacEwan. You guys had a phenomenal team, and I think at one point you were the number one ranked team in the country for a substantial amount of time.
Well, you're bringing up a few hard losses because my second year at MacEwan, we had Semenuk at the point guard. Our two-man was Vern Gerhardt, great shooter, 6'5", super athletic.
Yep.
Our three-man was Mike Smith from Ross Shep, 6'7", huge athlete jumper. We had big old Mark Humphrey, the diesel at the 5, and me at the 4. And,
that was a team. I watched you guys play a lot. You guys were good.
We actually went the undefeated season that year, 16-0. No one beat us. Our closest game was 27 points. We played the semifinal of the ACAC and just blew the pants off Medicine Hat back in the day with Bones was coaching.
Yep.
And Jim Bonin. And we're heavily favored to win the gold medal game. And Well,
Phil Allen.
Phil Allen, he got us.
Dang it.
And
Phil will do that. He does it to everybody. And he just haunts all of us.
Yeah,
he absolutely haunts all of us.
One. I still remember that day. It was a horrible day.
Oh, that's a bad day. That's a bad day. When I saw Kenny back in September, and for people who don't know Ken Larson, he's one of the biggest. He's a 6'9" man, but he has a 7'10" personality. Ooh. And Kenny still is in mourning over that loss.
Sure.
But the late great Phil Allen, if there was ever a guy who could scheme a team into finding a way to win, it was Phil.
He could. He was incredible. And you hated him in the process. I hated that guy back then. I didn't know him as a person. I was just a kid, but I couldn't stand him.
Hateable. I mean, Phil.
Great guy, though.
Purpose.
Love the Allens, but
the Allens are phenomenal. And Phil was and here's one of my favorite Phil Allen stories. And it's that, and I coached with Phil. We started the Grads Basketball Club back in '97. But my favorite Phil Allen trick was, if Ryan's the official, I'm looking at Hope and I'm saying, you know what, don't pay attention to the official. He doesn't know what he's doing. He would just sit there and he would just berate and insult the official, knowing the official was fully listening to everything, but pretending like he's talking to his team. Phil had every trick in the book, and it didn't matter.
He sure did.
He actually got tossed from what we called mini boys game when my sons Ethan and Sam were playing against his youngest son, Corey. I remember this is at Britannia. He gets tossed from the game. He's coaching against my wife, Sandra. And he gets tossed from the game. And these are mini boys. These are under 11 kids.
Poor Sandra. She's a saint.
Oh, my God. Yeah, the Catholic Church has already got a slot for her. Just absolutely. So Ryan had a great career, then went on to coaching. I had the privilege of coaching against you at McEwen, also a bit when you were at Emmy Lazert. You've coached a lot of places, and you had a phenomenal thing going at McEwen when you stepped back to do things at the high school and junior high level with your family, which is fantastic. And now we have your daughters here. First thing I'm going to ask you is, what's it like to play for your dad? We'll start with you, Hope.
Well, definitely it's a fun experience just to be with my family, because obviously me and Nev played together at high school this year. We have a great young coach, McKenna Palmer, who was our head coach, so he was more of the assistant role. But it's just nice to have him because obviously he has lots of knowledge, and he doesn't let you get away with little things. He definitely holds you to high standards, so it's nice to have him there for sure.
That's great. How about yourself, Nev?
Yeah, I just think it's fun to be with my family all the time, and it's we always get to talk about basketball. It's always with us.
Always talking hoops.
Always talking hoops. So when you go home after a practice, you get down, you sit down to dinner, you're still talking hoops?
Yes.
Okay.
It never leaves. Sometimes that might not be the best thing.
That ride this year after that one loss. I don't know. I can still really get affected by some bad loss. I don't know. The level doesn't really matter to me when it's
100%. We're all Phil. We're just like Phil.
Yeah. Basketball it's a lot of fun, but it can tear your heart out at times. And remember that ride after we lost that one game, and looking back, probably didn't matter that much. But I remember being so furious. It might have been our opening round game in the totem hoop. We lost opening round, which you never want to.
Oh, wow. In front of the home crowd.
Ben Feldman on some bad bracketeering there, Mr. Feldman. But anyways.
Hope you're listening, Ben. Hope you're listening. You're being called out on the air.
I think we might have had some tears in that car ride on the way home that day, which I feel bad about now looking back, but I was not happy.
Was Dad crying or were you crying?
I don't think
Definitely it was me.
Yeah, it was Hope.
I don't know.
Well, you guys, I had a chance to watch you play a playoff game against Scona, at Scona.
That's provincials.
Yeah, it was provincials. Yeah. And it was a great basketball game. You guys, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were down big, but you gritted your way back to a victory. That was huge.
Yeah,
down 13. Go ahead.
Whole season, honestly. Just lots of grinding and just getting your way, kind of being the underdogs and having to work harder to prove ourselves. But I think it definitely showed at the end, just kind of our tenacity and our...
Yeah, we ended up finishing 5th in the province, and I think Shep hasn't been at basketball provincials for girls in a long time. I don't know the exact
15 plus years.
Probably, maybe since Robin was last there from
exactly.
Probably.
Yeah, probably that. So congratulations to you both for that. That's a huge accomplishment. So Nev, you're the youngest. How do you feel being the youngest in a basketball family that has high standards and high expectations? Do you? Sorry to put you on the spot, young lady.
Okay.
This is, but how does it feel? Like, do you support each other? Do you feel pressure? How does it work for you?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think we like push ourselves to be better. Like we definitely make each other better, and it's fun because I get to see what my siblings do and try and do the same or do better.
Well, I remember being
Better.
I remember being at that game at Scona. So I sit down with my wife Sandra, look across. There's all kinds of Dunkleys over on the Shep bench, and then I look to my left, and it's Mom and your brother, and that kind of being from a basketball family ourselves, that kind of support with the sadness or the tension sometimes that goes with it. That's part of it, but the overall impact that it has in your life and the overall positive connection that you really feel together is really important.
Yeah, it's neat to see them all cheering for each other and stuff. And this is our backyard season has now started, so we got the records going on the garage door, or the garage wall and stuff. I officially started them as soon as I set a record, of course. But
some things never change, right? Yeah. You're still trash talking your daughters.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
no
bet he
idea.
does.
You
I
have
can
no
only I can't even imagine. I know. Trying to assert his dominance, be the big guy.
I'm just preparing them.
And it's just it works because it's just, I'm you're 50 years old. Can you stop? But it's just.
Here's the thing about basketball, as you're discovering with your dad, it is the inner child never goes away. You're still 15 when you're a basketball person, no matter how old you are. You're listening to Hoop City with Paul Sir, along with Josh Fenwick. I'm here with Ryan, Hope, and Nev Dunkley. What we're going to do in this first segment, we're going to finish up talking about your careers, but then in the next segment, we're going to talk about other stuff in basketball. All right, outside of this world. You're going down to play for Robin Fleckenstein down at Mount Royal University. How excited are you?
I'm super excited, and I think every day that it comes closer to me moving away, I just get more excited, and it just makes me really happy about my decision because it was a difficult decision for me. But I'm just excited to play for such a strong athletic program with such a hard-working group of girls, and just Robin, who obviously pours every bit of herself into the sport of basketball. She's working with the national team. She was worked many times with the provincial team. So just playing for someone with so much knowledge and wisdom who just really believes in me is really important, and I'm just really excited.
Boy, those are wonderful words, and I know it was a difficult decision, but on the flip side, it sounds like a fantastic decision. And as we were talking about off air, you can't play for a better human being than Robin Fleckenstein. Now, you may not feel that way first day in practice when she's riding you. That's going to be different. So Nev, you're going to be the lone Dunkley on the court now next year. You're going to have the spotlight on you rather. So how are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm really excited for next season. We still have a lot of girls coming back,
Okay.
and I'm excited because I think we can do good again, and our coaches are good, so I'm excited for next season.
And Shep's a great school to play for, isn't it?
Yes, I really like it.
Yeah,
I think, Shep just has great energy, and just
it does.
especially our team last year, we're only losing 4 people, so we're returning a lot for her and the team, and we're so close. She hangs out with them every single day. They're literally together every second at school, so just the connection off the court is just as strong on the court. So I think that's why she's also excited to return.
Well, and you also get to carve your own path now. So that's going to be an interesting experience for you, isn't it? Because you've got just you to think about. Not that you were thinking about your sister when you're playing, but that this will be a really exciting time for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think next season's going to be great.
I think it will be too, and I think what the coaching, I was really impressed with, Ryan. What your staff was doing.
McKinnon's a great young coach.
He's really
well ahead of her years. She really is. She knows the game, and she loves the game, and the girls all love her. What do you guys call her? The baddie or something? I don't.
She's our baddie.
She's our
Shout out
baddie.
McKenna.
The baddie.
This whole this coaching girls, this is the first time I've coaching girls at a competitive level, I would say, and obviously the EYBA growing up and stuff, but It's amazing, actually. I had a great year. Just outstanding girls, and they're absolutely hilarious. Bunch of goofballs.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe a few more tears that I'm used to, but it's all good in the end. It's amazing to coach these ladies.
Well, I wish you all success in your off season in preparing for next year. Certainly, of course, I hope it goes extremely well down in Mount Royal.
Thank you.
That's going to be really great. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the WNBA. We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about basketball, club basketball, EYBA, what your experience was like growing up, and just how that all fits into your lives. So after these messages, we'll be back with the Dunkley family, Josh Fenwick and myself, Paul Sir, on Hoop City, on your sports leader, Sports 1440. I'm joined by Ryan, Hope, and Nev Dunkley. And we had a great talk in our first segment about what the experience was this year for Nev and for Hope, and with their dad helping coach over at Ross Shep High School. But now let's talk a little bit more about other stuff in basketball. And I'll start with you, Nev, and Hope, about growing up. You played EYBA. Did you play club as well?
Not a ton of club, like mostly we played community, like EYBA, because we are lacrosse players too, so our spring is always dedicated to lacrosse. But as we've gotten older, we played Junior Pandas, or Nev's currently playing, in the Pebble League, so Prairie Elite Basketball League, and it's an incredible club season. It's against almost most Western Canada youth sports schools have junior teams, so it's just great exposure with just great coaching, because you're learning modern youth sport basketball knowledge and terms and stuff.
I love that. How's the experience been so far?
I love my team, and I love my coaches. And
who are your coaches, if I could ask?
Marissa, she is the head coach at Augustana.
Okay.
And then this Shay girl, she played at the Pandas a few years ago, and then Sarah, who is on the Pandas right now.
Currently,
yeah.
Okay. That's fantastic. And of all of the club experience, if you want to call this club, to me, this is the pinnacle for young ladies to be able to play in this kind of environment and emphasize, because I'm guessing you practice more than you play games, right? Or is that fairly close?
You practice twice a week.
Yes.
And then they have some sort of lift, or they do nutrition sessions too. And then every couple weeks they'll have a session in I believe Regina, Saskatoon, Edmonton, and Calgary. So those are the four host locations. And you'll play, I think, 3 games per tournament weekend.
So the whole thing is only about 12 or 13 games overall, and maybe 30 practices overall. So it definitely has a decent ratio there.
Coach, one of the criticisms I have of the club world is the reverse ratio of games to practices. Because in my opinion, this is just me, Ryan, I'd be interested in yours, what playing games does, as opposed to more practices than games, playing more games than practices, it just reinforces whatever habits you have, good or bad. And it certainly can help you develop in certain ways, but I think it can also reinforce bad habits. Is that a fair summary from your vantage point?
We just had this conversation, Nev and I think, in the car the other day. We were talking about the weekend, and the weekend was fine. We went to Saskatoon. We didn't play that great. The Pandas lost. We were 1-2. Mount Royal's got a great U17 Pebble team this year, by the way. Some fantastic players. They kicked the snot out of us on Sunday. And coming home, we were just thinking about the weekend. And again, great experience. We practiced lots. I'm not complaining at all. But Nev, I think on the weekend probably attempted maybe 6 shots over the weekend. They play everybody fairly equally and stuff. It's not no shot on anything like that. It's just, sometimes the ball doesn't come to you. Nev's still one of the younger players on the team in grade 10. And so, maybe 6 or 7 shots throughout the weekend. We probably could have, in terms of improving your shooting, done better in the driveway.
Right.
And again, not complaining. That's just the reality of it. Yeah. And
right.
If that's every single weekend, I couldn't imagine being a role player. Over a summer, you might get 30 or 40 shots up altogether. I just don't know if that's the way to improve your skill. We've also noticed it with some of our players at Shep. These young ladies are heavily involved in club, and some of our players played right up until the high school basketball season started with a big tournament the weekend before high school basketball. And every single one of those kids sat out this year with some type of injury, and I would say at a point hit a mental wall too. And so we've actually, McKenna's been on it trying to encourage these girls to play fewer games. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm nothing against the club system. I mean, it's been interesting to learn to manipulate it and see where people are getting their money's worth, or they think they are. And it'd be pretty complex to be a inexperienced parent if you don't know the basketball world to try to know where to put your kids.
Navigation, I think, is the biggest hurdle for everybody, because it is very complicated. Because let's face it, you're getting sales pitches.
It all looks good on social media.
It all looks
beautiful.
good. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, you've got. You can make it look graphic, but whether it helps you get better. I have a nephew down in Iowa whose sons are really good players. And
is that the Watson family?
This is the Sir family. This is my
my
younger brother Tim. His son, who was a really good Division III college player. He has two sons that are really good, and his oldest son is a phenomenal shooter. But he was playing AAU for the last few years, so they're going up to the Twin Cities. They live in small town Iowa, 3-hour drive up to the Twin Cities, practice once a week, and then go to play all these tournaments. They made the decision this year to not do that. They have a school circuit, sort of similar to the idea of Pebble, high school circuit with your teammates, but spend more time on individual practice and development and really target the weaker areas of your game that you're going to need to get better at, as opposed to just competition. So you really have to navigate. And
well, the financial side is interesting too. Like,
oh my gosh, yes.
From my perspective, I'm happy to, if a little bit of money from my kids' registration goes to support the Pandas and the local program, that to me, that's a good spot to put it versus maybe, most of these clubs, again, nothing against them, but they're,
they're a for-profit business.
For-profit model, and they have to make money to pay their bills. And it's nice to see coaches getting paid. I got to admit, most of my life's been volunteer work.
Yeah.
But, so there's some definitely positive sides of it. But, it's just every parent's got to make their decision.
They really do. And the hard part about making decisions is where you get the information from. And that's navigation that we're talking about. All right. How important is the WNBA? Do you find that inspirational? Like, are you like when you look at a Caitlin Clark, like, do you find her to be an inspiration in your life? Does it really matter? Because you're so, and I mean, you're somewhat unique because your basketball is so ingrained in your family. You don't need the WNBA for inspiration, but does that motivate you a little bit?
Well, I think like the movement, everyone watches women's sports. It's just really special to be a part of the generation where that kind of like rose from. I think women and female athletes getting the recognition that they deserve, and just kind of showing that how skilled and like the improvement like that's happening for women's basketball and like the jumps that it is making is just insane, and it's really exciting and just like inspiring to get to watch so many other people have success and get the like recognition they deserve. But it just makes you want to work harder just to see how far you can go in the sport too, because you're seeing so many other great female role models be successful.
Really well put. And I think to just add a little bit to that would be that you see the ceiling rising, where the ceiling was so low before. Now the ceiling is getting higher and higher. More and more opportunities are coming forward, and more recognition of how good female basketball players really are. So, Nev, if you had to choose between watching NBA, NCAA, women's basketball, we'll go women's. Well, I'll throw men's in there too. So NBA, WNBA, NCAA men's or women's, what would you choose to watch first?
I would choose NCAA because, like, I find, like, I don't watch a lot of WNBA and, like, a lot of the NBA because I just, like, in the NBA, I don't really feel like they're always trying, like, in the regular season. Like,
no kidding.
In
Good
NCAA, like, every
Yes.
game they're always trying, and it, like, matters every single one of their games. So it's, like, cooler to watch when everyone's, like, always trying.
Isn't that the truth? How about yourself? Hope that was a great answer, by the way, Nev.
Yeah, I'm definitely a huge advocate for the NCAA and just watching university and college sports. Like, my dad has always said to us, like, just look how hard they all play. There's people diving for every single ball, and I just think it's just a great way to, like, emulate or, like, learn, like, build your game off of watching these kids genuinely leave every bit of themselves out on the court almost every game, which is so hard to do because they're playing a high number of games, not obviously as many as the NBA because that is absurd, but they're still playing like a high volume of games to work that hard.
Did you enjoy who was your favorite team in the NCAA this year?
For females, so I really like Stanford, but obviously they haven't been great. I don't even think they went to the tournament this year, but when Cameron Brink and like the whole like twins played there, I was like a huge fan. But I always like to see Iowa do well, obviously because of Caitlin Clark, but it was really interesting this year because obviously not having her, there's like different holes in their roster, but they were more of an underdog team and they played really well even in their regular season, and they had a decent run in the tournament too, so it was fun to cheer for them again.
Well, Ryan, I mean, your daughters are right at the top of my list right now because when anybody mentions Iowa, I'm from Iowa, and so yeah, boy oh boy, how much money? Where's my checkbook? So, Nev, how about yourself? What's your?
I actually like watching USC because of like Juju Watkins.
Yes.
Like she was hurt this year.
Yes.
So like I wasn't watching them as much, but I'm excited to watch her next year. She's just great.
She is great, and it's too bad, of course, about her injury. But isn't it interesting now how she would be eligible, I believe, for the WNBA draft, but now, well, maybe not next year. But she's probably going to make more money just staying in college now, which is a crazy reversal of fortune. So it's just insane. So, but she is going to be like a big-time WNBA player. If her knee injury heals properly and it doesn't affect how great she can become, she's going to be really special. I like the WNBA for lots of reasons. I do. I think the one thing I find, and I'm curious from a young person's standpoint, there's a lot of negative publicity and a lot of negative social media too. Like there's these weird rivalries of sorts or criticisms of certain players. Particularly, Caitlin Clark seems to be a lightning rod for players and people. Don't you? My belief is it takes away from the game, and it puts the attention on fluff that really doesn't need to be there. Would you agree with that, or do you just think that you're into social media and you're talking about like McCain from Duke and now OKC being your favorite player, largely due to social media, and the influence like that? Is this just all part and parcel, so an old guy like me just has to accept it and just roll with it?
Well, obviously,
Explain, girls.
Lots of it can be very extreme and silly, but I do think the negative aspect is it's very unnecessary. I definitely think there's a lot of shade sometimes, a little more, less now, but thrown towards women's basketball, and like definitely like people will like to show the lowlights of it. But I do think there can also be a lot of, not like, obviously it's negative, but it does bring more viewers, or it does kind of show some more of the game. Like it's a publicity, maybe not always for the best reasons, but it does have people talking about it more, which isn't always the worst thing. But
that's a good point. I mean, there's always that saying that there's no such thing as bad publicity, and that certainly could be interpreted in that way right now. So, final questions to you, because I'm going to go to your dad to wrap up, because we're going to talk NBA. But if there's one thing you hope to accomplish next year, I'll start with you, Nev. What would that be?
I just like another very successful season for Shep. Like go back to provincials and like not just like a one-time thing, and like keep going, and keep building our team, because I think we can do very good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How about yourself, Hope?
Just provide an impact, or like make an impact on the floor for such a young team at MRU, and just kind of carry that chip on my shoulder of like not being overlooked as an athlete, and just like really making my presence in the Canada West like established from my first year.
Fantastic. Two very focused young ladies, and very impressive. Dad, let's talk a little bit NBA. First question before we talk about tonight's Game 7.
Can't wait.
I know. My God, can you believe it?
That's been an amazing series.
Unbelievable. It has been an amazing series. It's interesting because Josh and I were talking in our opening segment about It's been an amazing series in spite of the fact that really only game one was, nip and tuck.
Game 2 was pretty close.
Pretty close, you're right.
It's true, you're right. Game 1 and 2 kind of hyped it up.
Yeah, and then since then they've been kind of lopsided.
It's true.
A lot of criticism, in SGA, Pride of Canada, deservedly 2-time MVP, but a lot of criticism about his flopping, and now they've got analytics. Darn those guys.
Yeah.
They sit down in their basements, no tans, pocket
I didn't know
protectors.
The stats to fall down the most times, but apparently he's leading in the falling stats or something.
17 to 11, 17 per game to 11 in second place. Does he flop too much? And one of the interesting things is that there's a lot of publicity right now is that the OKC Thunder, in addition to being successful, are also driving people away from being fans because of their style of play, which is an interesting slant on that. Do you think, I thought last game was the game that probably the officials got it right in terms of they didn't fall for what sometimes I think SGA is a master of it. But tonight's going to be interesting because SGA it looks like he's going to have to beat them straight up, just making shots as much as getting to the free throw line. Are those fair comments, or is that too much again of that social media negativity?
Well, the hate's coming at SGA when you've won your second MVP in
of
a
course.
row. Like it's
You're
just,
target
whoever's
on your
at the
back.
top, let's tear him down. That's kind of
100%.
how the world seems to work, which is unfortunate. But I mean, the guy's a 2-time MVP. If you're from Canada and you're cheering against him, I don't know why. I mean, what an incredible story. It's kind of like the Michael Jordan story. He got cut from his team in, grade 9 or whatever, didn't even make the junior team.
Yeah.
And now he's a 2-time MVP. So I'm never going to hate on Shea. I'm actually cheering for San Antonio, as I grew up with it as a David Robinson fan and watching all those teams back in the day.
Yep.
And I love Wemby. He's so fun to watch. But yeah, Shea's incredible. Yeah, so he draws fouls and gets to the free throw line. I would too if I could shoot 90% from the line and they're going to call it for me. Like, why not? He's trying to win.
And a lot of people, the retort is, well, it's an officiating problem. It's not if you can get away with it.
Yeah.
They're
fouling him a lot. Like you see those follow-throughs are hitting him and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like they've bailed him out. I think the reffing's been kind of crappy in certain instances the last couple of games, but not really on the Shea side. I read your little blurb last week, and I agreed with that 100%. They got 4 calls in a row. Completely wrong. Was that game 5?
Game 5.
Game 5, and that made it like a 14-point game at the quarter instead of potentially like a 7, and I thought those were atrocious calls.
Well, and those would be calls you would be ticked off at when I was talking about under 11 games.
Yeah.
That's just like, you can't make excuses. It's not judgment calls. It's missed bad calls. And then to ignore the San Antonio bench on the challenge,
that was frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, then the conspiracy theorists all come out of the woodwork on that one. But
well, the refs got it. It's not basketball's a tough game to ref. I mean,
very tough.
I grew up around all the refs. So these girls, grandpa was, my Sunday dinners were like my dad, Barry, and then like Stein Jake and Dave Cooney and all those guys hating on all the coaches. And eventually that coach became mine, Don Horwood. That was a bit awkward over the years. But reffing's tough. I'm not getting into reffing. I can't, it's going
That's a
so
whole
fast.
different world.
And you're guessing sometimes. But when you see it on the video and then you can't even challenge it, it seems like in these days that shouldn't really happen.
I did get one thing wrong in that little blurb that I put out, and that was I said on the first out of bounds that it was Hartenstein. It was actually Holmgren.
Yeah, his foot.
Yeah, off his foot. Terrible call.
Yeah.
But the second one off Hartenstein, I watched the replay and I watched the official closest to the play. He wasn't even watching the play. He was looking this way as the ball was coming out of bounds this way. So he had no idea who hit the ball. That's just bad officiating. And then to miss the call on the challenge, like these were all big swings, 5-6 point swings that could have made a huge difference in the outcome of the game.
It would have been a better game too. I mean, San Antonio had a bit of momentum. That being said, if you can't make a 3 in the fourth quarter, do you really deserve to win? Probably not.
Probably not.
But I think it just changed the energy.
It does. It shifts the energy, shifts the focus. So you're going to go with San Antonio tonight?
I just love watching Wemby. He's like the guy I used to design in my video games growing up as a kid, trying to make him crank out as tall as you can, make him shoot, just kind of laugh. He's tough as nails. They have beat the absolute snot out of him, and he just keeps coming back for more.
Plus, he's, to your point about McCain, I equate him to McCain in that he's his own person. He's not boilerplate. He doesn't get up there at an interview and just say what everybody says. Yeah, we got to keep working hard and stay focused and play together. Wemby's going to give you his honest thoughts. And he does some crazy things, like doesn't talk to the press and, goes and spends a month with monks. He does something. He's a very unique guy. So I think it's great for the game of basketball.
You turn on the TV and right away it's like, wow, there he is.
Exactly.
It's just so neat to see. No one's ever done what he's doing at his size and just the way he plays. We've never seen it before.
No.
He's like a cross of like KD and Kareem maybe. Like it's just the way
it
is.
Good.
It's insane.
Good comparison. It's the new Terminator.
Yeah.
It's the new model. It really is.
Yeah. I hope he can keep that body healthy. Every time he goes down, I think, he's going to break. And
that's my big fear for him is he falls so much.
Yeah.
You
see, was it game 2? Maybe it was game 1. There was like a loose ball on the floor between.
Oh, I know. That was game 1.
He his head. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You're like,
come on,
I love the effort, but isn't there a smaller guy that can do that for you?
You might want to let that one go out of bounds. Yeah. So, well, Nev, Hope, Ryan, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed yourself as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm proud of them. They're amazing kids. And
as is your son, Kai.
We're cheering for Kai to work his way up that Bears bench. I think he's got something to offer that team. So
he does.
We'll see where they take that program. It's a new era there.
And you know what, Ryan? Thank you for all that you do in the basketball community and all that you've done over the decades now. You've done so much.
I'm the old guy now somehow. I don't know how that happened, but I am.
You're not. I am. You're
Sorry,
the next
in the high school coaching ranks.
In the high school coach, you have to qualify it. Anytime anybody says I'm the old guy now, I can trump you.
Well, as soon as Young's retired, I became the old guy.
But thanks for all that you have done and continue to do in the community.
I love doing it. It's been amazing to work in this community for basketball for so long, and now that I'm older, I have a better perspective, and I'm just proud of the girls, but it's so awesome to walk around this Western Canada and run into your ex-players all over the place. Like that's worth every volunteer dollar. Hope's going to play for Robin, who we mentioned is married to Matt Callio, who's an NBA ref who played for me in high school, and so that's a neat connection. And it's just, those things go on and on and on in this game. As you know, it's a very small community.
It really is. It really is. And when you see people excel and you have that connection to them, it really is special.
Yeah, it's amazing to see.
Ryan, Hope, Nev, thank you again. This has been a lot of fun on the Community Champions segment today. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll be playing the interview that I had with Sirat Sohi, who writes and broadcasts podcasts for The Ringer, here on Hoop City with Paul Sir, Josh Fenwick, on your sports leader, Sports 1440.